for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venom Fire here, back to the video, and today we bring you guys another defensive video. This one's going to be a bluff blitz concept, how to come out in a formation that has a really good blitz and bluff the pressure, drop pretty much everybody, but give the same look as if you are blitzing. This concept is really popular among pretty much every good blitzing formation. You'll see people mix in coverage and blitzing, but you have to give your opponent the same look. I think this is best used out of the 2-4-5 double A gap. We're going to be in the New York Giants defensive playbook. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. So again, Giants defense, nickel 2-4-5 double A gap. Again, I'm going over the bluff blitz, but if you want to see the full blitz, how to run the blitz, I'll leave that video link down below so you can combine the two and make a nice scheme out of it. Now, you're going to adjust your zone drops first thing. Set your curl flats to 20 and your flats to 5. And then once you come out in this formation, you want to sub in some nice safeties right here in the middle. And then as far as your defensive ends, get quick outside linebackers. So Lorenzo Carter, he's 88 speed, and then Carter Coughlin over here, he's 86 speed. Those are the fastest guys on the Giants, and those are the guys we're going to be using. Also, before we get into the video, make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button. It is the best way to support the channel. So make sure you guys go ahead, hit that sub button. We're on the road to 14,000 subscribers. It would be much appreciated. Now the play that we're going to go ahead and run is going to be Buck Zone Blitz. I believe it has the best stock zones in the game combined with the best potential to make adjustments. So again, at the bottom there, Buck Zone Blitz. And then as far as offense, I'm just going to run a little bunch corner route concept. So we'll hop into that. Now, just taking a look at our play, you see we got 5 people blitzing. We have 2 seam flats, and then we have that 3 receiver hook with our 3D blue. So first things first, you're going to go ahead and press. Then you're actually going to go ahead and spread your D-line. So spreading your D-line, this is just going to give the same kind of look as a blitz. It's the same exact look as the blitz. And for the blitz, you have to press and spread your D-line. Again, we want to give the exact same look as our actual pressure so that he's not going to know without, abilities like threat detector, whether you're blitzing, 6 people or you're blitzing 2 people. Now in this video, I'll show setups where I'm blitzing 2 and 3 defenders. Depending on your preference, you can use whatever. But again, press, spread D-line, then we're just going to shade over the top. We're going to get rid of those seam flats, use our curl flat zones. When you adjust your zone drops, I don't believe it makes too big of a difference, but I just personally like those curl flats. I think they look a little bit cleaner myself. Alright, so we got 2 more things to do in our first setup. What we're going to do is go ahead and adjust those defensive ends that I mentioned. We're going to throw X here, our X defensive end in hard flat. And again, when you're making those adjustments, I know they kind of do look like linebackers, but they are defensive ends. So use the left D-pad adjustment instead of the right one, because you see the right one, it's only going to be those 2 inside guys. So again, D-pad to the left twice. Press that B, and then go ahead, put him in the hard flat by pushing your left stick to the left. So now here we got just a basic setup. We got our 2 blitzers, we got our 3 receiver hook, and then we have our double flat, our Mabel style coverage on that outside. So on offense, I'm just going to set up a pretty basic setup, decently popular one, something like this. And then maybe they throw Y on like a little check and release because they might be expecting pressure. So again, just a little popular setup. Now this would be cover 3 typically, so if they're in like a bunch or something, you can always go ahead and deep half that X cornerback. But yeah, you see we're rushing 2. I'm deep halving to the strong side, and we're just going to go ahead and snap the ball. We see that 3 receiver hooks definitely going to help us out, and look at that coverage. We rushed 2 against 5 there, almost 6 because of that check and release, and we get really good pressure. I know that the Dolphins' offensive line is not super talented. We only have we have an 80 and an 84 overall player rushing the passer there, and we got really good pressure. So yeah, you can see you don't have to rush 4 people. I usually get the same pressure rushing 3 and 2 as I do 4 sometimes. So again, the setup is press, shade over the top, spread that D-line, and then you're going ahead, throw X in a hard flat and B in a hard flat, and then again, just put X in a deep half. That's only if you're going against like a bunch that has a cover 3 beater or a strong close that has a cover 3 beater. If it's any other regular formation, you can leave that outside third. But yeah, so it's important that we also shade over the top so those outside thirds are going to play it better. Let's go with a little bit of a different concept. I'm going to keep sort of the same thing, but let's just throw B on like a little in route, something like this. That could be a popular setup, almost similar to Flood. I don't think flood's in this playbook, but I could actually just create the concept like this. So here's a little flood concept, and then X is usually on a fade. So it's similar. The out routes are a little bit better, but yeah. So again, I'm going to go over the rushing 2 setup. We keep that 3 receiver hook, and you will see the 3-rack hook. It's probably going to go ahead and follow that in route over, I would imagine. So we'll snap the ball. He's actually going to go follow the out route, and then he kind of lurks over. So I throw that B. I'm not even defending that, and the 3 receiver hook follows him from the right side of the field all the way to the left. That's why you like that zone. That's why you get a 95 player and a 3-rack hook, and they're going to absolutely do wonders for you. So you see he actually started out by kind of lurking over here in the left, defending the out route so that you can quick snap low ball it maybe as a seam pass. And then he actually worked over defending the in route. So also the wheel route's covered, the flat route's covered by our hard flats because we spread our D line. They're going to get out a little bit further, and that's going to help them. They're already quick, so that's going to help out. So I'll show that setup one more time, then we'll hop into the other one. Also, if you want, you can kind of move these guys over just a step so that they're not stacked. That's just something little that I do. But again, press, shoot over the top, throw X in a hard flat, throw B in a hard flat, and then you are good to go. Again, deep half as you wish, whatever. But again, let's throw B on like a drag, something like this. Maybe I could see being a setup, Y on like an option. And obviously, when you're running this 2-man setup, you have that extra zone. You're going to take whatever zone or whatever route that your 3 receiver hook doesn't take. So obviously here, it looks like I'm going to kind of work down on the drag. Sometimes it can be difficult to tell what they're doing like there. It looked like he was going to follow the drag. He was on that left side, but he actually came down on the option. But again, you see, we're getting pretty quick pressure, rushing 2. But sometimes, even if let's say he's blocking his running back, you're struggling to rush him. Sometimes when you catch him in this bluff blitz, he's going to end up blocking his running back because he thinks you're blitzing. So if they're blocked or running back, you only send 2. You're really not going to get as good pressure. I know we've been getting decent pressure. But let's show a little rush 3 setup. So pretty much when you're rushing 3, the one player you're going to take away is going to be that little 3 receiver hook. So there's a couple of different ways that you could do it. First things first, I could go with something like this and then just rush A. And obviously we have our user on a blitz, so it kind of signals that it's a 4-man rush, even though we're only rushing 3. But we're definitely going to back up and user. Just taking a look, that's a way you could rush 3. If you really want to get like kind of crazy here, you could go ahead and throw A in like a little hard flat, and then you can actually like spread your linebackers so that he's out a little bit. This kind of gives away that you're not blitzing, but if you wanted the safety to be in coverage and that outside linebacker to be rushing, which will give you a better pass rush, obviously safeties aren't going to get sheds on really good centers. That's something you could do, but sometimes like a little table route can still beat him out there. So I would probably have to manually move him over around there, and that definitely gives away that you're kind of not blitzing. So I like to go with the first setup, even though I am blitzing my safety. If I'm really struggling to get pressure, that's something that helps, and the safeties can get through occasionally. But if I'm not really worried. Let's say I've been running the bluff blitz multiple plays in a row because my blitz hasn't been getting home. This is something I can do if I want to stay in the double A gap formation. So again, let's just set up a nice little setup here. Let's go option, and then let's go in route like this. Now obviously if they send multiple routes in the middle of the field, I'm gonna have to work option to little in route there. So it's gonna be more difficult, but you would assume that you get pretty quick pressure. Rushing 3, work that option, go back, and you see by the time that in route gets over, it's going to be covered. So I pretty much have everything defended. But again, you see the reason that a lot of people are rushing 2 people is simply because the pressure difference between 2 and 3 men rushes are not that big. So you see it was pretty much the exact same time when I rushed 2 to 3 against a simple 5-man protection. So obviously this is no offensive line abilities. It depends on the player you are playing, depends on the formation he's running, but you can see pretty much that there's not really too big of a difference, I would say. Again, this 3-man rush setup is going to be X in a hard flat to B in a hard flat, and then you can actually just rush A, just like this. I put them in the wrong zones. I think I did, but here is our setup. Again, you're going to be using Julian Love, this player on the left, but this also gives me the diversity. If I'm going against like a bunch, I can also use McKinney, so I can really use either one of these. Where in that first setup, you're kind of limited to use the guy on the left. I know that's not a big deal, but it's something to mention. Let's say they go with like verticals, something like this. Now, if they were to run verticals, this would be a play against your 3-man rush that would actually torch it completely because there's not enough things to use her. And obviously rushing through, you're not going to get quick pressure, but you're also not going to really be defending everything. You see how that curl flat defends A, though. I like the way that they played the seams kind of, and then they play the sideline. If there's not really anything on the sideline, they actually stayed with the seam, so I would really have to kind of lurk that crosser up and then come down on the running back route. Again, you see a relatively quick pressure. That one probably was way quicker than it would have been rushing 2. Obviously, if you're never getting home rushing 2, if they're like pancaking your players, then you got to go switch to that 3-man rush. And if I wanted to go with like the simple 4-man rush, something I could do is, let's say I'm going against a bunch, he's not throwing his running back out, I've rushed him, he's going to block his running back. Then what I would do is just throw X and a little hard flat and rush the rest of the players. And I would actually use my 3-rec hook. So here's a little 4-man rush setup you could do. Again, this would be if he's blocking his running back every play and he's going with the concept probably like this, I would assume, on offense. Little flood concept. He's sending the pressure, so he's going to be, slide protecting. He's going to be IDing. He's going to be on the running back, and then he's going to snap the ball. On offense, you can just use whatever one you want. You don't have to keep the 3-rec, obviously, if you're using that player. So I can blitz him, or I can use their Love. Doesn't matter. I guess whatever one's better at rushing the passer. But 4-man rush, this is the reason that we don't like 4-man rush, because, again, you saw 3-man rush come in the same time. You saw 2-man rush come in the same time. So really, the difference is not high, and that's the reason why people will always go and elect to rush less people. Obviously, if you have to spy the quarterback, you can use one of those zones to spy. I could go with something like this, where I just throw those zones out, and then I spy my 3-rec hook, but I'm only rushing 2. So that's a little setup that you could go ahead and go with. But yeah, so that's pretty much going to do it for the video. I think it gave you guys a good idea on how to run this blitz. Gave you around 5 different ideas and setups, 3 different main setups. But yeah, it's going to do it for the video. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description. That's the best way to contact me. If you ever have any questions within the videos, DM me on Twitter. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed, and peace. I'm out of here.